Hello there and welcome back to the Non-League Podcast with myself, Lee Simons. And today I've got another special guest with me. I've got the Great Yarmouth first team manager, Rob McCombe, with me. Hello Rob, how are you?
Hello mate, how are you?
Great, thank you. Good, especially with these times at the moment, being in isolation. Being in.
I keep saying it's just a bit surreal, just being at home a lot, and I think we were just saying it's about 5 weeks now, so it's quite crazy, quite a long time.
Exactly. If you do like something like these podcasts, or you got things to do, it's not too bad, is it?
No, so I mean, I've been listening to a lot of this sort of stuff, to be honest, and it's really nice to hear local content rather than just national content, and it kind of keeps you involved, and it's really interesting hearing the likes of Geordie, the likes of Scott and stuff like that talking about the game in the last couple of weeks. So you've done a great job helping keep me sane.
Thank you very much, Mark. Rob. I appreciate that. It's like when I've been doing this, there's like really nothing much around this area for doing like podcasts or like highlights or anything like that. So this is why I'm kind of trying to bring the community back together.
Yeah, no, excellent.
But there you go. So for people who are listening to you, Rob, can we just have a little bit of a background story from yourself and how you got into football?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Germany because my dad was in the army.
Wow.
So my football playing was pretty much through teenage years in Germany, and played for a local side, which at the time was called TuS Paderborn Neuhaus, who have since turned, or they amalgamated with a couple of clubs and have turned into SC Paderborn, as most people will know, in the Bundesliga. So I kind of, that was pre-academy days, so
Wow.
I'm that old. So it was kind of before academies, but 16 to 18s I was playing for Paderborn against the likes of Schalke and Dortmund and Wattenscheid and teams like that. So that's where I kind of really got to grips with early football, and played a fairly good standard over there, although the lads would probably disagree with what they see in training.
I bet they do, because it's completely different to playing in like England and of course Germany. Because I went to Union Berlin and I've been to Borussia Dortmund a few years ago. It's a completely different atmosphere over there to here, isn't
culture. I mean, it's really interesting. The youth game over there is really different in that a local side, so like a Yarmouth side in the youth setup, can play in the same league as Dortmund and those sorts of sides. So it was really exciting at the time, because at the time Paderborn was quite a low end team, it was in the Oberliga. But actually it was being able to play against Schalke. I made my debut against Schalke, for example, which was a scary debut. I didn't have the greatest game, but it was exciting to go up against those sides and the likes of Dortmunds, your Bielefelds and stuff. So
yeah, I bet I bet the atmosphere was completely different from now until those days as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just different culture. A lot of the teams in that era, working class teams, so often went and watched the likes of Schalke playing and stuff like that, and very much working class areas, and working class, it was a real proper local club, but on the national stage sort of thing.
Well, wow, that sounds really interesting for people to actually play in a different country and different leagues. It's completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it's my earliest experience of coaching. When I was playing, I was the only English speaker in the team, so
wow.
Literally, I kind of had to get by as the only English speaker. The coach didn't speak a word of English and things like that. So fortunately, the players were pretty good. But it was just some really high level coaching even at that time, even back way back when sort of thing. And I think the British culture's catching on now, and it's certainly improving. And I think that's borne by the quality of the coaches coming through now. But certainly back then there was really high quality coaching at that age group.
Definitely, when you've got like the likes of Jurgen Klopp and of course Daniel Farke up the road as well. It's just that kind of mould is now coming into the English game. I know it's only been a couple of years since they've been here, but it's that culture now, because both of them have actually come from Borussia Dortmund, didn't they?
Yeah. I think Farke was even involved at some point locally around Paderborn area as well.
Wow.
It was just after when I was there, but yeah, he was certainly there.
Wow. So after Germany, whereabouts did you go after that?
Yeah, so my parents relocated. It was around the time I was going to university, so I went to university in Loughborough. Played a bit of uni football, but not really serious. It was more about the Wednesday evenings.
Yeah.
And kind of, funnily enough, my last game for Paderborn, I broke my toe, and it kind of set me back about a year, because it just took me a long time to recover and to kind of get back to it. And if I'm honest, I never really fully got that level of fitness back and the like. So I didn't really play a great deal of football, and certainly didn't take football that seriously after that.
No.
And then moved up to Norfolk in 2000.
Yep.
With work. And essentially dabbled a little bit with football, started doing some coaching just before I moved up there, and kind of started dabbling in coaching. But it was only when I changed jobs in 2006, I guess, where I basically decided to change jobs and taking teaching as a career.
Okay, yeah.
And became a PE teacher.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of really started really enjoying my football. I mean, I was working at Caister High School, and had quite a bit of success with the youth sides. There were some really good players. And as a result of that, I kind of really got the bite in for coaching and was given an opportunity to take on Norfolk Schools football.
Oh, yeah.
So I took over, I started coaching Norfolk Schools football probably about 12 years ago now.
Wow.
And I've been involved ever since, and kind of really gave me the appetite for coaching and for developing young players particularly. A couple that you'll know, to be honest. There's a couple that were in my sides a few years ago, the likes of Ross Bailey and Max from Hereford. I mean, both of those were in my county sides. Max, to be fair, went to Ipswich after a while, so we didn't have him very long, but Ross Bailey was a hell of a young player.
Yeah. Well, especially...
lucky enough to work with a lot of good players at that level.
It's quite interesting you say about the county the game, because I actually was a referee back in the day and actually done a few like county games, and you can see the different standards. There was more of a high standard with those teams. You could really did see it. Yeah,
I mean, we're fortunate enough to get to work with the best players in the county, literally the best players in the county, and it's a very different sort of coaching to picking up a grassroots side and just having a bit of everything. Is you've got the best left backs, you've got the best centre midfielders and stuff, and it does lend itself to giving some really high quality coaching, and the fact that you're coming up against really challenging opposition. So most of the opposition Norfolk play against are academy setup sides. So you've got several academy players in their county sides, whereas in Norfolk we don't have that luxury because Norwich City don't really let them play.
No, they don't.
Essentially, working with that higher calibre of players really gave me an appetite to kind of really develop players and to see how far we could take them, really.
Yeah, I bet that was, especially with I don't think that the Ipswich Academy do that either. I don't think they do that for the Suffolk schools either, which is a bit of a shame, really, because if they went out there and did that with Norwich City, I think they might have had more success with the academy players than the Suffolk and the Norfolk schools. Do you think?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I guess the difficulty we get sometimes with Norfolk schools is when you go up against in Essex, you're playing against several players who play in academies, and it's not necessarily a level playing field. But to be fair to Norfolk, we tend to carry our weight to the size of county, and despite that, but it's a great standard. It's a great standard.
And definitely, because didn't the Norfolk schools actually win the under-18s? Was it last season?
Yes, that's Norfolk FA. So once they finish with the schools at 16, they can then play for the representative side for Norfolk FA, and a lot of the county boys that have gone through 14 to 16s will be making up those squads, but it's not necessarily a school side.
Ah, right, okay.
But I mean, it's the fact that we've seen a lot of those players progress from 14 upwards to the under-18 side and then into the adult game has been really, really exciting. Yeah,
I bet it has, especially when you see the likes of Ross Bailey playing still for Thetford. He's still there at the moment. Still decent. He's still scoring some cracking goals as well, which we managed to get on film. So he's actually still got that film on his Twitter page at the moment. So it's quite nice to see.
Yeah, no, he was always one of the better lads at Arlo. Kind of went on to some good stuff and played at some good teams. So I've followed his career quite lightly, and I think, like a lot of them, it's always nice now to see, and actually it's great now being involved in the adult game, looking back at some of the players that I was lucky enough to work with, I guess, and seeing how they're getting on, and several playing at Furlough, none and even higher, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. So, from the school's perspective, whereabouts did you go into the football after that?
Yeah, so I was given an opportunity. So somebody who works within the school setup was at Seams, and they were looking for a first team coach. So I kind of went and checked them out and had a look at what they were doing and what sort of training they were doing at the time. Mm-hmm. I hadn't really had that much of an inkling to go into the adult game.
No.
It wasn't something that I was particularly keen on at the start, and I wasn't really sure about when I started it, because at the end of the day, when you've got the county lads, you've got the most keen, young, enthusiastic ones that want to learn and they're desperate to be selected and everything else. And kind of going from that group to a group of adults who had different motivators and weren't necessarily there. They were maybe there because their mates are there, sort of thing, rather than being the best team in the area and stuff like that. I wasn't sure about whether the commitment level from those players would be what I wanted, and I kind of went there. And after watching a couple of sessions, I kind of was convinced, it looks like an environment I want to get involved with. The players were really, really exciting in terms of watching what they were capable of. So it was a case of, all right, I throw myself in, and I think I went in the 2016-2017 season for about the last 10 games, and started to put a bit of a stance on it. But it was a bit of an up and down last 10 games, just getting a sense of where the players were and stuff. But I got a bug for it, to be honest. I got a real bug for it, and I didn't look back. And after that end of that season, the ability to create a pre-season and to work properly with those lads pre-season to really start the season on a high, followed them. I had 2 really good years there with them. Created a lot of good progress on and off the pitch. Worked with some fantastic players, and it's a really good setup. And I really, really enjoyed my time there.
That's great. That's good to hear, because I actually watched that team play Montford this season. Of course, the season void, and actually they played Montford. And they looked really good. Both end-to-end teams. There's like lots of things going on, and of course Montford won by a 1-0, but it could have gone either way.
Yeah, they've always. I mean, they've been a very consistent side because they've got a lot of good local friends who play together and everything else, and several of those players could quite comfortably play higher. It's quite comfortably play.
I bet there was. And also, when you got the call from Great Yarmouth, how did that all come about?
Yeah, it was funny because at the time, the manager, it seems at the time, had stepped down, so we were in the process of speaking to different people, including Ross, who ended up coming in, about coming in and working alongside me in some capacity and working out what that relationship would look like. And at the same time, somebody gave me a nod that Yarmouth were looking, had inadvertently thrown my name in the hat and heard that they were potentially interested. So I had a couple of conversations with them just to kind of sound them out and just see what they were looking for, see whether it was the right fit. And I wasn't particularly looking to leave Seams. I absolutely loved my time there. I wasn't particularly looking for anything more.
No.
But I'd always kind of had aspirations to go into the furlough nuns. So when a team like Yarmouth came knocking and the opportunity to speak to them came up, it was a case of I couldn't really resist it.
No.
And to be fair, having had a couple of conversations with the likes of Mason Sinney, it just became a job too good to not go for and to really throw my hat in. And to be fair, it's my local club. I live fairly local to Yarmouth, so it's the most local furlough nun side to me, so it's a perfect fit in that sense. And I think I put myself in for the interview, had a stringent interview with about 5 or 6 of the panel, kind of grilling me for a couple of hours, and was fortunate enough that they offered me the job.
That's great news. Great news for you and for Yarmouth Town, really, because they've just been relegated from the Premier Division, going into the north side of the third line, wasn't it? And then, of course, you can have the whole pre-season to get the players on side, get the attitude right, and, of course, going into pre-season, and then starting again.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, if I'm honest. It was tough. In hindsight, I'd rather have come in with, similar to what I did at Seams, with the last 7, 8, 9 games of the season. Because I think Mason Sinney had actually said that they were stepping down prior to that time. And actually, in hindsight, if I'd had the opportunity to come in at any time, it would have been at that point to start to instill some of the ideas and principles and show some of the training ideology that we were trying to introduce. Yeah. Because when I came in, a lot of the lads didn't know who I was. There was no context of who's this guy, what's he going to offer, is it going to get better, are we going to get some of the things we don't like changed? Yeah. So it's quite difficult. And actually, when you look at it, we probably replaced about 80% of the squad. Yeah. And the timeline of that was we didn't really have a proper pre-season. Pre-season was really messed up in terms of player availability, new signings coming in, trying out different players. So it was. I'm much more looking forward to this pre-season where we've got more a settled side, the ethos and the kind of ideology that we've got behind it, and our philosophy is quite clear and understood by those players, and we're ready to go. And a year ago, that just wasn't the case, to be honest. It wasn't the case that was there, and I think we kind of had to build and develop that over the year. So it was a tough first couple of months just to kind of get into it, but certainly we felt a huge amount of progress through the season.
Well, definitely, because you got to the semi-finals of the Norfolk Cup and only narrowly missing out on the penalty shootout. So it must have been a good success for you in that cup run, but unfortunately you didn't get to that last hurdle.
It was. Yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. It was good. I mean, to be fair, we had a relatively straightforward run through as well. We were quite lucky with some of the draws, but played some lower league opposition, which actually was probably our Achilles heel a little bit last season, was not beating teams who on paper we really should, sort of thing. We tended to compete better against the better sides, I suppose. But the run in the cup was great because it really galvanised the club and it really brought the club together and the players together particularly, and to lose on penalties in the semi-final was a kicker.
I bet it was. But you did finish in 10th position last season, but you did have like some really good teams in the North Division, because you got like Marchtown in there, you got Lakenheath as well in there, Norwich CBS. They're all pretty damn good teams. Of course, you got the ones down below as well.
Yeah, it's a strong league, to be fair. I mean, it literally is. And I heard Geordie's interview the other day, and the Full and Premier is the same sort of thing. Is actually no results end up surprisingly. Teams will beat anybody, and I think our league has got lots of surprising results that are thrown out the season, particularly with some of the reserve sides who occasionally load up and kind of have a lot of first teams playing, confirm some difficult results. But there's some really strong sides, and like you say, the likes of March and Lakenheath are really doing the area proud. But I think the Norfolk clubs have been superb this year as well.
Oh, definitely.
It's great to see that strength and depth.
Definitely, especially when you can look at the Vars Cup as well. You got Wroxham, Stowmarket. They're doing they've done really well in the Vars. I know Stowmarket's a Suffolk team, but but they did really well. Of course, Kingsley in town. They've done really well. I thought.
Yeah, I think Norfolk football's really on a high. I really do. I think the where teams are and where teams are going, and even the likes of Thetford. You look at the difference that Matt made when he kind of went in and what started to happen there. You look at stuff that other clubs are kind of putting in place now. You kind of say that actually there's a lot of good things going on, and we think we're getting it right at Yarmouth. We think we've got a lot of good stuff happening at the moment. It's going to help us to improve. We were quite disappointed, if I'm honest, with 10th. If you look at our record, for example, against top six sides, was one of the best in the league. More than competitive against some of those better sides. If we can just kind of tighten up against some of the teams in the middle and teams at the bottom, I think we will be in the mix in the coming seasons. But yeah, I mean, I think we're really pleased with where we ended up with all the disruption at the start of the season. But it's something really good to build on. That's
good. So coming into like this season coming in, I know whenever that's going to be. What is your plans for next season?
Yeah, it's funny enough. We've just been doing a lot of work on this around. Last season we introduced some philosophies and some approaches we wanted the lads to adopt. We're looking to try to develop that through the club with the new management teams we put in place. So this furlough period, this kind of time off, this lockdown period has been quite good in a sense, because it's given me some time to actually really kind of get to grips with some of the detail in the club. And we've put a lot of work in terms of developing and driving our philosophy and our approach. And I think for me, it's not about just getting a collection of players together. They've got to really buy into what we're trying to do. And I think we've got some really clear direction to the players, some really clear direction to the other management teams and to the committee and to the whole club, that we're all moving in the same direction and we're doing things the right way, and the way that we want it to work, and kind of really keying into our philosophy around developing young players, around doing things the right way, the way the club conducts itself and everything else. And I think for me, we've spent a lot of time kind of getting that ready to go for next season, and then I say that's going to be shared across our under-18s, across our reserve sides, development sides, and everything else. So we've not been wasting the time. We've been really kind of getting ready and gearing up for next season.
Especially when you look at the Norfolk clubs around this area, of course, of Thetford, yourselves, and others in your league as well. They seem to be bringing in like more players, like more teams. So it's getting in like the right direction for everyone, really, because you've got the first team, you've got the reserves, you've got the under-18s as well, and of course with Thetford we're actually applying to have an under-18 team in the league as well. So it's going to be good for the whole Norfolk anyway. Really, I think.
Well, it is. I think it's providing those good pathways for young players, and I think it's something which was. It was part of the reason why Yarmouth were interested in me, and it was part of the reason why I was interested in Yarmouth was we have got a very good reputation, rightly so, for developing young players and for giving young players a chance. And I think we will always look to continue to do that, and the remit of the managers in the club is a case of, obviously we want to get promoted, obviously we want to win games, obviously we want to do well, but not at the cost of that ethos of developing young talent and kind of keeping that going and part of the club. And for me, the pathway, I'm really, really passionate about the pathway from youth to adult football, and making sure you give them the route in and give them the opportunities. And we've this season as a first team probably had 4 or 5 different 16, 17-year-olds playing this season.
That's really good.
Really, and I think for me, it's about providing that pathway and opportunity. Obviously, they've got to appreciate that it's not going to happen overnight. They're not going to be regulars in the first team necessarily, but it's bedding them in and getting them used to an adult environment, and kind of really important to kind of bring them into an environment which is safe and secure and exciting for them too. I think their expectations are different to what 30-year-old players' expectations are in terms of the way the club conducts itself. And we were talking before about social media and the likes of that. Is a lot of stuff that you guys do, people like you, Sean Button and stuff like that, it's the new age. It's kind of engaging that young person and kind of making it attractive to them. And we're certainly invested in that with a new video analyst coming in. We're investing in software next season to kind of do video analysis and stuff, because we just see it as a really important part of the puzzle to really kind of give a more demanding younger player, as they are now, more of what they're expecting, more of the stuff that they've come through and seen through the academy environments they've been in. So,
definitely.
I think it's making the grassroots level a lot more professional. I think you can see that happening in a lot of clubs. And I think that's really exciting.
Which is really good, because when I went to watch Thetford a couple of years ago in 2017, it was like there was really nothing there at all on like social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anything really, or Facebook. There was hardly anything until you pick up your iPhone and then start recording stuff for yourself, and then you get the players interacting with me and the other managers saying, "Oh, can you come and help us out with like, can you do like video stuff for us?" And which is really nice for me, but it's really getting like the players on board and the supporters on board, so more and more people will actually come to the game live.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's been part of our thinking, and I think it's credit to people like yourself, it's credit to people like you and Sean, for example, who have put it a bit on the map, and actually it's raised the conversation in our committee. You know what I mean? It's like, well, look at this guy, he's done a video and it's got 500 views. Well, all of a sudden, why aren't we tapping into that? Why aren't we using that as a resource? Why aren't we using that as a way to promote what we do? And for me, we're making a significant investment next season we're buying a VO camera for the club, which will support our video analysis of players, but it will also support us putting out media content generally to the public. And we've got over 6,500 Twitter followers.
You have,
Being able to put media content out to those people, if it means we get an extra 10, 15, 20 people on the gate on a week to week, that's a huge difference for a club like Yarmouth. That's a huge difference in terms of income. It's a huge difference in terms of brand awareness and everything else. And I think, for me, we've got to engage with that type of media. We've got to engage with people like yourself, because I think it is really important to get the word out that it's vibrant. Grassroots football at this level is well worth going to see. It's cheap, it's attractive, it's a great experience, it's a great environment, and I think we've got a lot of really good local clubs doing some fantastic work with that.
Oh, definitely, because for myself, it's only me and because Thetford's got their own YouTube channel as well, and there's a few others which have popped up recently with Stowmarket Town. You've got Woodbridge as well. Sean as well. Of course, you got James Sterling, who does the DJ vlogs as well. So it's all coming together, and we're just trying to push it out, and even doing podcasts like we're doing now. It's just trying to open other people's eyes to it, and like getting more people in, because it is kind of cheap. It's kind of attractive for me, because it's only down the road for me. It's only like 5 minutes away to the ground. So you can just go up there on a Friday night, Tuesday night, within a Saturday afternoon to go and watch some football, which is really good.
I think it's real football. I kind of talk about it as being real football. I think it's one of the things that attracted me to the Furlough None was to work with bigger clubs in bigger environments. And I think when you go to clubs and you see that lovely regular support that comes there, where it matters massively to these guys. And I think I've often said to the guys at Yarmouth and to the players is I'm truly humbled by those people that come every week and put money behind their bar and pay to get in to come and watch us play. And I think it's getting that affinity and that friendliness with those local characters who actually they live for that Saturday, they live for coming down and seeing the local side. And
definitely,
I think for me, the more people we can attract into that environment, younger ages, all ages, and everything else is huge. And I think if we can promote it in whatever way we can, such as what you guys are doing, I think it's fantastic.
Oh, exactly, because I've actually been to Yarmouth as well, and it was an old-fashioned stadium, but I kind of loved it really. It's because it had.
It's an experience.
It's an experience, yeah, definitely, and it's a good experience for me because for being like based in Thetford, it's like only an hour and 15 minutes to go to most of the grounds. So it's not like if you go to like Championship, League One, and Premiership, you're travelling for about 7 hours, even more.
Yeah.
But you're only just down the road, go and support your local teams.
Yeah, and I think we're quite proud of the fact it's a different experience, and I think there is a real magic about the Wellesley Under Lights, for example, midweek games are tremendous, and particularly when you get the people in the main stand, and we've got the oldest surviving main stand for that purpose in the country, and I think it's a real iconic thing. And I think when you've got a load of people in that stand, the noise that gets generated by that old wooden stand is fantastic, and
definitely
there's something magical about it. And I think that's the same with a lot of local clubs, and it's great to see what's happening at Wroxham, for example, about that growth of that younger support coming in. And I think the more we can kind of do to promote that, the better. And to be honest, for us, that's part of the rationale around media content. Is media content will get that younger supporter interested. And I quite like Thetford too. I caught a game there myself this season, and I liked the feel of that place. It was great, and hopefully we'll get to play there at some point as well.
Hopefully, you never know, in the cup or something. That'd be quite good. Because
we nearly did in the FA Cup.
We did. Yeah,
we played our FA Cup game, and we played earlier, and I think you had an evening game. It was a Friday, and you played in the evening, I think it was. And, we basically the team that we beat, we were then due to play either yourself or the team you were playing that night. So I came down and watched the game there, and it was a tremendous experience coming down to there and seeing the game on the lights too.
Definitely, because to be honest with yourself, Rob, but I think the standard of the players, even the facilities, are getting much better. When I was going in the 17 season, you could see they were getting run down. The pitches weren't that great, but now over the coming 2 years, I think the pitches have got a lot more better of a standard, and of course the players are a better standard as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think the coaching, what I think I've seen, particularly you see this a lot through the schoolboy age group, is the general standard of younger players is improving in terms of their technical abilities.
Yeah.
And certainly what you are seeing is players breaking through who are younger. You've got one at Thetford, Brad, who's a young player, very technically able, and lots and lots of really good young players now have had some good coaching, and I think that coaching wasn't really there. And I guess if you look at, for example, even the Furlough Nun, for example, when I went to Seams in the McCombe, I was quite surprised at the lack of high-quality coaches, i.e. good standard level 3 UEFA B type coaches working at clubs at that level. And I think what you are seeing is a significant increase in highly qualified coaches working alongside these better clubs, and I think that only bears well for developing and improving those teams even further, and I think the standard will get higher and higher as a result of that. But I think it's the expectations and the demands from young players is to get high quality coaching, because that's what they've been used to. That's what they're getting at the moment now from younger age groups. So I think it's feeding its way up, and I think that technical game, the fact that pitches are getting better is because we're demanding better pitches to be able to play better football. Yeah. You couldn't have played on the Wellesley several years ago in the winter because the pitch was terrible, but Mason City did a lot of work to kind of get the council to get things right so we can actually start to play football on there now. And I think that makes such a big difference to the sort of coaching and the sort of people that are involved at Furlough and Anglian Comp teams now. Yeah, definitely. Well, Rob, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast. You're welcome. And hopefully we'll see you next season, whenever that will be. Yeah, you'll have to get yourself down to Yarmouth for a game. We'll take care of you. I will do. For people who have been listening, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.